Yeah, they're the best. Spread cannabis love. Me, think of some knowledgeable guests. Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Mike and Eric coming at you every day. Hell yeah, they got something to say. Talking about cannabis with all the guests. Don't you know they are the very best? Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Yeah, folks, it's a cannabis show. We get super high. Ratings, don't you know? Friends, join us. Come on the show. Tell every single person that you know. That Mike and Eric, yeah, they're the best. Spread cannabis love. Me, think of some knowledgeable guests. Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Mike and Eric coming at you every day. Hell yeah, they got something to say. Talking about cannabis with all the guests. Don't you know they are the very best? Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Yeah, folks, it's a cannabis show. We get super high. Ratings, don't you know? Friends, join us. Come on the show. Tell every single person that you know. That Mike and Eric, yeah, they're the best. Spread cannabis love. Me, think of some knowledgeable guests. Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America!
I guess that'll do it now. That's what I get for rebooting all my stuff. So welcome everyone. I started out by saying good evening, shut-ins. Welcome to everyone. I'm glad to see you guys here. Hey, Christy. Hey, Cassandra. And what's going on, Marie Brown? It's good to see everyone. Glad this audio, I guess, is finally working. And yeah, You look good today in the thing. I'm looking extra pasty. What's up, Jody? Nice to see you. Glad to see everyone. What's up, Laura Lee?
Morning, Laura, or afternoon.
It's weird now. It's suddenly an evening thing. So just so everyone knows, we're doing it 3 times a week. Oh, and Dan, before I come to you, you're appearing to me sideways, so maybe you can do like this thing with your.
Yeah, why is that? I thought you guys were saying.
So yeah, on today, yeah, that looks great. On today's show, we have Dan Watkins, who's CEO at GreenCELL, and then we're also going to have Chris Almeida come on, and he's the host of Coffee Time with Almeida, which is an awesome show that everyone should check out because he's cool. My mic is always off. We were still waiting for. I don't know. This will have to do, I think. I don't know. But I know that so these days, by the way, just so everyone knows, we are going live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. We're changing our times. We were going mornings at 10 a.m. and we're not doing that anymore because I think a lot of people would rather watch in the evening. But we'll see. We're going to see, I guess. So we're excited to have Dan Watkins on, and Dan's an award-winning, highly endorsed business marketing and product development executive with over 20 years in high-tech global 50 financial markets. Which is awesome. He's a complete life cycle business manager, utilizing solution architecture in the procurement and implementation of high-performance computing, information technology, core banking, data management, risk management, and predictive analysis with both software and hardware applications. I love it. It's like speaking my language. And Dan, are you out of New York City these days, or are you West Coast? Forgive me for.
So I'm 5 miles outside of New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, so New York metro area in New Jersey.
Excellent. And so Dan.
Right next to the Meadowlands. Sometime award-winning Giants football team.
Dan, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can you here in in New England, our market has sort of gotten to a certain place, but I think that we're finally starting to not only sort of take note, but actually be able to have conversations with folks outside of our area to see like what they're up to and what's going on. So can you tell us a little bit about GreenCELL and what you're up to out in New York?
Absolutely. So, I think you read my LinkedIn resume there. So I've been a banker, technologist, 20 years or so in banking and financial markets. And, a few years ago, everybody starts talking about cannabis and all the medical claims. And so that turns a lot of eyes, especially in terms of the markets, right? And what's going to happen. And, I took a look at New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, and we have 9 million people here, and they're talking about cannabis can do $8 billion to the market economy and revenues and taxes. And we have a lot of social issues and programs. Like, we got to get on top of this. But wait a second. I don't think it's the THC that's going to drive all that money. What's this CBD stuff? So I left banking. 45, 20 years. I could retire. Well, I didn't make a bunch of money, but lost a lot of money, especially how volatile banking is. And what happens in banking is about risk management, trying to predict the problems that you could have in the future to build a sound business, right? So I looked at how to manage business and farming, and the opportunity in farming. And what's interesting about New Jersey and New England, we're all New England. New Jersey used to be New Amsterdam. It's all New England. We share a unique weather pattern, right? It's very wet. It's very cold. We can't grow the same things you can grow in California. So what is that? What does the cannabis business mean to the East Coast? And like Jersey used to be one of the leading farming states for a lot of reasons. We're one of the oldest states, one of the first 13, right? So we used to do potatoes and this and that, and a lot of that's gone because of rain, contamination, all that stuff. So there's a whole economy of people ready to do some farming, but not the old type of farming. Cannabis is a form of farming with hemp that we could do indoors. And we took the lead from a lot of cannabis companies and Cornell and people that were doing things, particularly in Massachusetts. You guys have led the way in cannabis cultivation in a compliant way indoors, which is very difficult. But you also get a medical grade. Well, now that falls into a bunch of opportunities, especially in the urban farming area. We have 9 million people in this state, and some of our cities have a couple million people. People should learn how to grow food, how to grow medicine, and make careers and paths out of that. So GreenCELL is a company I set up for that. We've been waiting around to do medical cannabis and play that whole game. 7 out of 1,000, and they're going to legalize. They're going to do it. They're not going to do anything. You know what I mean? They're just going to keep playing that game all day long, and that's fine. But there's immediate opportunity. And what just happened over the last 2 years, particularly from 2018 to now, is the federal government made hemp legal. And they're giving out money to farmers, for people to grow things, food, and now you could do hemp. So this is a huge opportunity for the country, for individuals, for families. There needs to be some acumen around it. What I know about farming, I studied biology in school. I think the CBD and cannabis market is great. I think they work together with the medical market. We have medical down here. We may go adult, we may go recreational, but CBD is a nice way to balance out your medical THC. You can have fun with the other stuff, but CBD has some real serious foundational support. We can help people in all types of pain issues. We lead in opiate deaths, whether it be from somebody breaking their shoulder or someone a veteran. I'm a veteran. A buddy of mine helped me start the company. He's a doctor. He's a veteran. He's a VA psychiatrist now. Biggest issues for veterans is not just the pain, so the opiates addiction, but it's the benzos and the other things that degrade their lifestyle, right? So CBD helps with that inflammation. There's a lot to do. But that's what we're all about. Now we took advantage. So New Jersey didn't do hemp like Massachusetts did, even though we've been working in Massachusetts and Vermont for the last 2 years to get CBD and hemp. And Jersey kind of sat on it. And when they went legal, just this year, they went legal with the USDA. So now I'm a federally approved cannabis farmer. Never happened before in U.S. history has the federal government approved any kind of cannabis license, right? You have state licenses and you have other things. But now they're giving out federal licenses by the USDA. So we're one of those, and we're trying to get started and take advantage.
Congratulations on that.
Dope. That's dope.
So where you're getting in at this point, and where, especially sort of the movement that we've seen on the federal side and the changes that we've seen there, how are you guys, what are you thinking that you're going to be focused kind of still regionally? Are you sort of prepping for more of a national movement? And I guess, I have more questions for you, but why don't you tell me what you think about that first?
Yeah, so that's a great point. And when you look at, if you just model the cannabis industry, it's restricted by state by state by state. So whatever state you participate in, that's where your market pressures are. That's where your competition is and pricing, right? So the beautiful part about hemp being USDA is that it's international. It goes everywhere the USDA goes. So, a lot of people don't realize, and we forget, and we're now seeing, particularly with the coronavirus and, food for China and food for this one, we produce a lot of food. Hemp is now part of that infrastructure. So I see us participating in sending cannabinoids to Ireland and the UK, where it's not allowed. You can grow hemp for fiber in the UK, but you can't grow anything else. But you can buy and sell CBD all day long, right? So who's gonna grow that for them? They can't grow it in France. They can't grow it in Germany. They might grow it in Estonia. We could do it right here in New Jersey, right here in Massachusetts. Put it on a cargo container, and they got it in a couple weeks.
And so, are you guys actually opening cultivation centers, or are you doing investment in that? And are there areas that you're sort of looking to do your own thing versus partner with other folks?
Yeah, so we actually have a seed to sale model now. We've been in the CBD business for a couple of years, and that's primarily a manufacturing and processing type of management. So whether you grow it, that's nice, 50 pounds, here's $250 to the farmer. But a kilogram, which might cost another couple $1,000, can produce $100,000 worth of product. So it's very important to be in the product, production side of CBD for one, right? Less on the processing and the farming side. We got into the farming side because of the genetics. If you can match the genetics and meet the right types of requirements, I can grow, any strain now and make it compliant. We do flour, $500, $1,000 a pound. The smokable hemp flour, high CBD, high CBG, is very easy to do. Now farmers can really take advantage of growing hemp. If you look at hemp in the CBD market last year, the flour was okay. It was restricted legally. Now it's opened up a little bit. It's still unclear as to how much the rules allow for smokable flour. But if you participate in a medical state like New Jersey, and we're able to grow smokable flour, there's a market for it with the dispensaries. They'll sell it, especially if it looks like it belongs in a dispensary, right? So that we got into that business, and now with the CBD side, we're geared up to help people produce CBD and create products, food products. Topicals is very, very big. Most topicals, are regulated like a food product now. This has sugar in it, it's shea butter. All the topicals you put in your body, you could essentially eat. So they're regulated like food products. So we see a huge, huge opportunity, not just facial creams, but mouthwashes, things you could do all over your body with CBD. That has to be manufactured. Who's going to produce that? Who's going to create the product? Soon you'll go to Wegmans, Kroger's, 7-Eleven, and literally in every aisle you'll see something containing CBD. So you got your tissues and your wipes going to have CBD in it, and CBD lotion. You'll have topicals, you have sleep, you'll have pain, you'll have beverages. So we got into the farming side on the genetics, because that was a new way to have an artisan farm and grow cannabis and be legal and have people enjoy the plant, but then also participate in the food market, which is probably which is the U.S.'s largest gross product, is creating food.
Well, and I think across a lot of industries, whether it's cannabis or even just, for instance, the food sort of ecosystem in general, you really see, like with cannabis, people can cultivate it, but the accelerators sort of on that is when you productize it and you're turning it into things and you're adding value to that cannabis that you grow. And I think it's the same thing with CBD, right? I mean, it's you can make a smokable flower, and there is a market for that, but really what people want is sort of productized versions of that and different ways to consume it, right? And so to me, the really interesting thing, because you really touched on it, and I think I've always found it interesting that like the folks that are the small to medium sized business folks, especially in the CBD industry, are like, gas station CBD is bad, right? And I don't think that I personally have never bought my CBD, let's say, in a gas station, but I don't think that it's necessarily that it's bad. I think what it is that we're talking about like trust, right? And really when it comes down to anything that's sort of like a health aid, or even just something that can like assist with a healthy lifestyle, right? Or something that promotes that, right? I think it really comes down to trust. And so at the end of the day, I think it's great when folks can find a brand that is both manufacturing something out of it, but they're actually growing that source material as well. And it's interesting because, for instance, here in Massachusetts, that's not really possible. Like there's laws, like you can make stuff in Massachusetts, but then you can't sell. I believe that's still the case, that you can't sell CBD products in Massachusetts that are manufactured in Massachusetts. So people are taking stuff in from out of state. And so it just sort of becomes weird.
Sometimes, yeah.
And how do you really work on your brand even locally from a grassroots level when it's difficult to traverse these things, right? And so, but at the end of the day, I think it's just really important from a trust perspective that like it's great to know that when when you're finding a brand that you can trust, that they're both growing it and sourcing it, and then they're also like they're the chain of command or the chain of like custody with that hemp and that CBD is going directly from like seed to a bottle or a package that the consumer can then open up and consume. And
and that's why economics and farming very similar, right? You're talking about an audit. How do you audit where this thing came from? How do you find the trail of where it grew and who's attesting to it? So just want to say two things, because I talk about some things all the time and people are like, oh, really? The CBD, everything that happened in CBD in the past was federally illegal. April 23rd of this year, the DEA changed the statute. So I'll just repeat the statute, very simple. I'm not paraphrasing. But the DEA said any cannabinoid extracted from the cannabis plant is a federal offense. Any cannabinoid. Hemp is cannabis. Okay, so you extract CBD from hemp, you're extracting a cannabinoid. Now, the federal government didn't care because they were writing letters back and forth, the DEA and the FDA. And so the FDA was more concerned about people making false claims. The DEA was more concerned about people growing illegal cannabis and then doing extraction and being the black. So they were all over the place. And who's going to pay for the regulation of it? Well, now that the USDA stepped in, there's already regulations. There's probably, the USDA is probably the largest federal agency in the country. Probably more USDA agents than anyone else and anybody else. That's what we do. We grow food, we grow corn, we process stuff. We don't make a lot of money on it, but we do that the most of it. So now there's an infrastructure to manage that. So they relaxed on it. Two things happened in the last 3 months. So that was USDA, it was January 2020. Then the DEA says, you know that list, that scheduled list of narcotics? You know how we say any cannabinoid extracted from cannabis? Well, you know CBD is not in there, right? Well, check it out. Here's CBD, and now it's a scheduled nothing. So they wrote CBD in, which it wasn't there before. So it didn't say THC, CBD. It said any cannabinoid. But the DEA went in and said CBD is not on the list at all. So now that means if you want to get CBD from Chapo, it doesn't matter. You just have to show your lab results that says it's CBD. So the where it came from loosened up tremendously. That happened April 23rd of this year. The second thing that happened, and it's happening right now as we speak. So last week, the FDA says, actually in June, earlier June, FDA says we're gonna start talking to the CBO or one of the budget offices in the Congress. And we're gonna figure out a way that we can regulate CBD in food. Okay, and the reason why this is important is if you look back last year, Curaleaf, CVS, Heineken, Lagunitas, all these beverage companies, they started talking about infusing, right? You can infuse CBD. You're talking about THC, that's nicer, of course, right? And you could do that. But the infusion process crosses every state that you're selling your products in. So now the FDA is working on budget for the state, for the health departments of every state to regulate infusion of food. So what does that mean? To me, that means that Poland Springs, people drink 7 million bottles of those. I just made that number up, but probably 7 million bottles of those. They're going to be drinking 7 million bottles of CBD a day. It's going to be so big in the food distribution market. And those things just happen behind the scenes. Do the research. It's right there. FDA is looking for budget approval for CBD-infused foods. The DEA descheduled CBD from the list of narcotics. It's the sky's the limit. Now, if you're a small farmer, does this mean, oh, great, now you can sell 1,000 CBD products? Probably, yeah, at a lower price, because these guys are already going to Africa and paying. Like there was a press release last year. I forget which Canadian company. They're like, yeah, we found a way to make CBD 90%, 96 was the number, 96% less expensive. You read down in the article. They got 20,000 hemp farmers in the Congo. So they're paying people 50 cents a day. We have farmers out here who need at least $15 an hour minimum wage to do. It's not so the demand and the farming and the aspect of the food is going to be huge, billions and billions of dollars. Who gets into that is yet to be seen. So I tell people, get into CBD. That's great. Get into hemp, right? But get into food, because at least you can supplement some production of CBD for your business, but you could also start to sell food locally. More people would rather eat lettuce from Massachusetts than lettuce from Ecuador. No offense to Ecuador, But when they pick the lettuce in Ecuador and it's raw with no vitamins on it, and they put it on the cargo plane, they put it on the train, and by the time it gets to the food store in Massachusetts, you're eating not only bad lettuce because it's already brown. There's farmers in Massachusetts right now that can do lettuce for you, right? So the more we inspire people to get into farming, to do a little CBD, you might make a couple thousand, a few hundred pounds here and there, grow some flour or whatever, but grow some tomatoes, grow some mushrooms. Mushrooms are a great way, not just the medicinal ones, but the mushrooms are a great way to kick off CO2. So if you're growing hemp, you get a lot of oxygen. Grow some mushrooms; they work together. Hemp farmers, mushroom farmers, lots of mushrooms to eat. So I'm in this business, for that. But also, I think there's a community of people that aren't taught. We obviously go to college, right? But what happens if you don't make it to college? Then what do? You know what I mean? If you say go farming, I don't want to do any farming. Pick corn all day long, that kind of shit. Listen. 1 pound of CBD is worth $40,000. I can show you how to make $100,000 with 2 pounds of CBD, which is a kilogram, with just 50 plants. You could do 50 plants in a bedroom of a 1-bedroom apartment. So I think there's a lot of good opportunities for people. We'll be able to grow medicine, and in most cases, like in Mass, I think home grow is going to come. So once people know how to grow plants and oils and eat more healthier and participate in the local market. They'll be able to grow a couple plants of some good weed, their own weed, and we'll have our medicine. Get out of the market of the cannabis stocks. It's all going to come home grow, and it's going to go food.
Well, and then people actually know where their medicine is coming from, and they're not reliant on somebody else. It's nice to be able to have a system or a support system that can help you with medicine and care. But when you're fully reliant on them, all of a sudden that's when that system fails you. Now, where does your health go, or where do you turn, right? And so it's just, I think it's important for people to have options, to find what's right for them, but also to be able to be self-reliant whenever possible.
Self-reliant. Look, I mean, you can't. I have the same spiel. It's like I started looking at farming in Jersey. I'm like, met a guy, has some cows. Oh, I can't feed the cows the grass. Why not? The grass is contaminated. How can grass be contaminated? Somebody dumped some asphalt and we're in a floodplain. So you can't even eat the food in this area the way it used to be. We need urban farming. We need closed structure farming. We need people to take that on. What happens if there's an apocalypse of any kind, right? COVID. Everybody's stuck at home, can't go to the supermarket. Nobody knows how to grow any food, but everybody has a mini garden. Now we're self-efficient. And to the medicine point, when you think about cannabis, you smoke it, but a lot of people eat it. Tinctures, CBD is food. And so this thing about medicine, food is medicine, right? And if this can be part of the food chain, then you're actually growing your own medicine. So we really like that kind of stuff. The other thing I was going to say is, when you get into farming, you start liking vegetables more. And I wish I could be more vegan. I didn't think so. I always thought I need more protein. I want to be big guys like you, so I want to eat a lot of protein. I'm watching these Netflix shows. They're like, a game changer. Eat nothing but vegetables. Like, whoa, wait a second. Find out. It just came to me, but I looked it up. Vegans don't get COVID. Most people who eat meat, it's been the Snopes disproven all this shit. What? Well, the oregano oils, the kale, the magnesium, the zinc. Food is medicine, and hemp gives us a way to bring all that back in where we're consuming more things that are natural and green. You want to be strong like an oxy with an oxy. It's grass.
Exactly. Yeah, I always said that. That's kind of like why I got into it, is because if you look at some like the biggest animals on the planet, most of them are plant eaters. And then you look at the animals that are like predators, they're big, but they don't live as long. They function different. They move different. If you look at, plant eating animals, most of them are like, peaceful creatures. And then you look at the ones that eat meat, most of them, they gotta be vicious. You gotta be mean. You gotta have a mentality, obviously. So that's kind of like how I got into it too. Just picking up on stuff like that, and then noticing just the way plant eaters' mouths are shaped. Like, they say that, you know, plant eaters' teeth are more like ours because they grind vegetables. They're made to grind. And then people that, animals that eat meat, they have more, you know, fangs and sharper teeth for breaking bones and digging into meat and stuff. So, yeah, I did a lot of research before I decided to like go that route. And I did it for a little bit, and I've been going back and forth. I can't really stay there because I love meat, but it's hard to stay there. But I've definitely taken that route to where I only ate vegetables and fish. So that was it helped me lose a lot of weight, and it did make me feel a lot better.
Yeah, you know, when you get into this business, you meet, you know, naturalists, hippies, Rastafarians. A Rastafarian is a very natural vegetarian, like maybe sometimes chicken, you know, but for the most part vegetarian. And you know, it's all about being one with the earth, kind of thing. Same thing with Native Americans, right? And there's medicine in that. You look back in history, you'll find that most of the performing, you know, athletes were vegan. The Roman gladiators were vegan. Not that it matters, but when you have a more complete, balanced diet, then CBD works better, then cannabis works. Your life works better when you eat more vegetables, and that helps lower stress. So the thing about this business is we want it legalized because we say it's medicine. And there's two different ways of looking at medicine. One is giving you nutrients and nourishment that helps you heal and perform and grow and repair. The other is something that sort of helps you feel better for the time being. Right, medical cannabis, THC, has proven to be very, very good to help people with pain, but it doesn't have the same long-term healing effects as CBD. But so together, there's the entourage effect from you're in pain. They want to give you, you know, opiates, 100 milligrams of this a day, and that kills your liver because the other part of the opiate is Tylenol and aspirin, all other shit, right? So you got that killing your liver while you're high and getting addicted. Not sleeping right, but okay, that might be good for a little while. We should be giving people what they do in Maine: 6 pounds a week, smoke as much as you want, don't take that stuff. Now, you start recovering, you need your cells to repair. That's what CBD has really good effects because it's anti-inflammatory, so you get better blood flow. If you get better blood flow, you should be moving magnesium around and calcium. So you need to have more of a green diet. It's not a miracle. It's not a magic element. It's a chaperone to a lifestyle. You want to fall asleep? You should fall asleep by relaxing. CBD helps you relax, helps you fall asleep better. It doesn't put you to sleep like a drug. You know, it doesn't put you to sleep like a narcotic. I like CBD to go to the gym. I've been in the gym in a year. I'm probably a little older than you guys, I think, but definitely not never anything professional. But this guy was like, I thought CBD puts you to sleep. Take CBD before you go to the gym. Your blood vessels are a little bit more relaxed. You get better blood flow. You get larger oxygen expansion. So very similar to nitric oxide. You know, people drink nitric oxide to get more blood pump. It's amazing what we're going to see with CBD, with water and gym performance, everything. So it's exciting.
It is, and you know, Eric ends up using it a lot in his workouts too, and even when he's doing gaming and stuff, he uses it to, you know, he's finding it helps him with his alertness and everything, you know, the focus on.
Yeah, I do a lot of different stuff. I use CBD and on everything, honestly. I have so much of it too built up, like, you know, so many people donated and given me some, and I just try it every chance I get. So
yeah, good. Yeah, you guys, you know, your industry's been leading the way, you know, professional sports and especially in football, man. The stuff you guys had to go, that stuff is long term. We all, you know, from a financial perspective, the way I looked at this I was like, man, if everybody deals with inflammation, you know, some people on a much worse level, but we all do on every level. That means there's dollars being spent on inflammation now. If you bring CBD into that market, you don't have to get more money from someone. You actually help them save money, and there's the money right there. There's the need right there, you know. So I'm excited about how you guys have been able to lead that kind of discussion because nobody's been taking hits harder than you guys to make the case that CBD is working. We need more of that. Now we need the FDA to hear your story so they can record it and now say that we got the research. See, before they couldn't touch it. So if they couldn't touch any of it, they couldn't claim any research. Now they can track it. There's no reason why we should have people on these horrible drugs, which, my mom has never used to do anything, smoke, drink, whatever. She was a social worker for 70, almost 72. She retired basically. And also she gets diabetes, arthritis. They give her all these, steroids, prednisone. She can hardly move right now. These things most of our families, 50 to 74, are dealing with some sort of drug that's denigrating their internal organs. CBD is a great way to do that. Alzheimer's, dementia, tons. Like you look at the kids with epilepsy, it's all about the nerves overreacting. Dementia is about the nerves not reacting because they're too stressed, right? And so imagine what we could do for our older folks who are retired, who are breaking the bank, just to pay for, anti-seizure and anti-dementia medicine, and it's not even helping. It doesn't help. The symptoms of you can go out to pharma all day long. If you're sick, go to your doctor and get what they tell you to get. All right, but now there's an alternative that you should also look for. Don't say one or the other, but look for the alternative because it's natural. It's natural, and if it can give you the same results in California, they're playing with morphine and CBD because morphine is more natural to the body, and the CBD is natural, and they sort of work together. The CBD sort of like clears the morphine out of the body, so you get the pain release and you get the amphetamine. And I'm talking about like serious nerve damage kind of pain. Like you crack your scapula in half. What would you do with some of that instance? You pump them with all these other kind of acetaminophenines and ibuprofens, and then benzos for years and years and years. The person never gets better. We're going to see people get better. I don't think the big pharma or whoever is behind the control and everything can stop it anymore because it's in too many people's hands, right? So on both sides of the business, cannabis, recreational, and CBD, they come together to prove a point, and I think we're going to see a lot of good stuff.
That's interesting. I want to find out more later about the use of CBD and morphine in California.
Yes.
Because morphine, and I'm definitely not smart enough to be saying any of this right now, but I believe that like drugs like morphine affect the hippocampus, right? Which is like, it's one of those drugs that if you take too much of, suddenly it can, without you realizing, it can affect your body's ability to just naturally breathe without you thinking about it, sort of thing, right? Or natural functions, right? And so the idea of like, if you take too much morphine, it like severely reduces your blood pressure, does all these things, right? And if you take too much, if you take too much, you could die, right? Like in theory, you can take too much morphine, you can die from that. And so the idea, though, with cannabis has always been that it's doing a lot of these sort of pain relief things without affecting the parts of your brain stem which are doing the automated functions of your body, so that you can just keep living, right? Even if you take too much. And so it's interesting. I don't know if it's even the case, but I'd love if they're actually sort of like doing stuff combined with those two. I'm wondering if it's like helping, if CBD is actually helping to negate some of that like automated effect of bodily I'm not sure, but it's really interesting because to me that's always been the big hugest benefit of cannabinoids, is that even when you take too much, it's not affecting parts of your body that like will suddenly cause you to shut down, right?
Yes and no. We probably shouldn't make medical because you can have an overproduction of anandamide. We actually bleed out the balance of it on the other side. Like if you give a kid an edible, right, they might start throwing up and trying to reject it. There is some of that. CBD hasn't seen that, but I think just to go back to the morphine thing that I was looking at a couple of years ago that I heard about, it was if you're in the hospital now and you're on some sort of opiate drip, okay, and you have the IV and they're pumping something into you every few minutes, there's an alarm that goes off. The nurse comes in and shuts the system down. That alarm isn't about the opiate. It's about the acetaminophen. It's about the ibuprofen. It's about the aspirin. That can actually shut your liver down faster. So most pain pills are bound with that NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, and the opiate. So the idea of the morphine and the CBD is that they're both natural. So you can do a little bit less morphine and might get more of an accelerated pain relief because the morphine works with serotonin. Of course, if you overload morphine and you're shutting your liver down because of Tylenol, you get a different effect, right? So the idea is that CBD isn't going to shut down the liver the way the Tylenol would, so that you can use a more natural, and it may not be morphine the way that we're thinking of Masita. It could be an opiate. It could be an opiate tincture, an opium poppy tincture or something. Who knows how I can get an essential oil type of morphine thing, but that CBD works with these receptors that open up serotonin, dopamine, relaxes your nerve cells. So when your nerve cells relax, other things happen. But the whole plant is important too, because the terpenes give this sensation that something's going to happen, right? So it starts to stimulate your other senses and your other relaxation nerves and receptors. So it's very important to look at the whole plant. So that's why we're going into the flower business. That's where CBG comes into play, because when you try to play around as a grower with CBD and THC, other things fall around. But if you take the nice dispensary THC traditional strains and push that THC down, the CBG stays and all the terps stay. We can show you some flower, man. It's like, I'll show you some Sour Diesel, some OG Kush, some Bubble Kush, some Stormy Daniels, T1, anything. You're going to think it's wheat, good wheat. You look at the COA, it's 0.3% THC, 0.3% Delta 9, all of them. It's the CBG and all of the terpenes make you feel great. You feel happy. So call it a Diet Coke. It's $500 a pound versus $5,000 a pound in a dispensary. Why shouldn't you have an ounce of that and a pound of CBD or CBG flower, right? We start pushing those together.
Yeah, and I know. Let me lower this a bit. I know for me, that a lot of the first time I think that I really found an amazing effect from CBD was actually taking a CBD concentrate. And all of a sudden, and I actually had never taken any cannabinoid concentrate prior to my first time trying a CBD concentrate. And I figured, hey, if I'm going to try this, let it be CBD, right? Like, I don't think anyone's ever had like one of those weird CBD dab videos, right? Like no one's ever seen those. I'm like, it'll be safe for me to take a dab of CBD. And
those are crazy.
Those are crazy. Within a few seconds of taking that CBD dab, there were parts of my body, and again, I'm not. And by the way, point well taken before about like not making medical claims, because right now there's folks out there that are trying to do that research so that there can be at some point medical claims that are based upon stuff, but right now it's not appropriate for that. At least the stuff that I'm saying is really all anecdotal to me, right? But I'll tell you what, when I took that CBD dab, there were parts of my body that I didn't know that hurt until they stopped hurting once I took that CBD dab. Like my knee, one of my knees that I'm like, yeah, that doesn't bother me at all, suddenly felt great. And I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that I had like even a low level pain going on there that my body ignored after a while. And that was... the other times in my life that I had sort of tried CBD, like I felt good, but it was really that was like, okay, Mike, you might have thought sometimes there could have been a placebo effect going on, but like, at least in this case, like I found out that, consuming CBD in an isolate, and by the way, whole plant, yes, the whole broad spectrum is definitely better than just isolates. But I had even just tried an isolate, and even the positive effects on that for me personally were
we're an isolate shop. Yeah. I find isolates are good to add to like topicals, because you have all those other nice essential oils and things working. Or if you want to make a vape or even a tincture, and you have all the other terps extracted, and then all you need is isolate, so that it's all about mixing it together, right? But yeah. So, when it comes to the medical claims, I was really careful on that. I actually wanted to be a doctor, and I was messing around in school too much. I went to the military instead, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to be a doctor or something now. I went to biology. I'm like, can't make any money doing that either. Let me go to the markets, and I wasn't even smart enough to do that, so I became a salesperson doing technology and operations and how things flow. But if you look at food, you can make medical claims about food without making medical claims. You should eat more broccoli. That will make your life better. If you're sick, try some apple cider vinegar. See what happens. Here's an interesting one I've been talking about for years. So 5 years ago, I was turning 40. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the gym every day. I'm gonna do I'm a bodybuilder. Never took any steroid, whatever. And I'm gonna do what these guys are doing in Brazil. Poor guys in Brazil doing MMA. They were drinking baking soda before they worked out. Baking soda, what? So I'm looking at baking soda. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. It's pure alkaline. It's produced in the pancreas. You do more research. Every single disease, including cancer, thrives in an acidic environment. When you have lactic acid, you have acid. Everything we eat is acid. Food is acid. Your stomach feels bad. It's acid. I got on this baking soda kit. The government is okay with it. If you know anybody who's experienced cancer or someone like I have who's dying of cancer, the doctor will tell them, drink some baking soda. You remember years ago, if you felt bad, you could wake up in the morning, first thing Saturday morning, plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. Alka-Seltzer is baking soda. For 75 cents a month, you can put this little box, you can put it on your face, you can put it on your hair, it kills all kinds of germs, and when you drink a little bit of it, it balances your body. Look at the craze with alkaline water right now. Everybody's $8 a bottle for alkaline water, where you could get 75 cents for baking soda, and you can give it to your dog, your baby, everybody. There's little things like that we nobody's talking about. They're so cheap and easy to do, and we can save lives.
It's Dan. It's amazing because we have a lot of guests that come on the show. This is probably in about 3.5 months. This is probably like our 95th show that we've done. So
yeah. Good job, Jack.
We don't have conversations specifically about what we're talking about right now, but what I'll tell you is that in the last 2 days, I've had long conversations with people both about inflammation and about how there's so much that is actually mildly not only mildly wrong with us, but things that affect our lives that we've started to ignore and we just move on with it. That's actually due to inflammation, right?
Yes,
and then
of course.
Also the idea of because I talk to a lot of cannabis industry folks. So I'm like, hey, when you're growing your plants, you really care about the pH of the water and the food that you're giving them, right? They're like, oh, that's really important. And I'm like, I don't know because I'm not a doctor, but I'm like, I kind of have the feeling someday we're going to figure out that a lot of the maladies that are going on in our body are actually it doesn't mean that they wouldn't ever happen, but we're fostering an environment in which some of these maladies can thrive and grow, and it's because we're not. I think that we're not really pH balanced the right way, and we're actually
no, we're not. And I'll tell you two little things that you put together. You go, oh, you know what? I can see that. So the pancreas controls our blood sugar levels. Okay, and so the more sugar we eat, the more tired our pancreas gets. And then we start to get into these diabetic scenarios with sugar and insulin resistance and all the other problems that come along with not being able to digest fats and stuff, right? So it all piles up. But guess what the pancreas also does? It produces baking soda. So the pancreas's job, when it's fully functional, is to help send alkaline into the body to help break down food. It's not a digestive. It's more of a enzyme capture kind of a place. But the pancreas regulates our pH and our sugar. I'll give you another way of looking at it. If somebody told you your pancreas is not in good shape, you have months, weeks to live. The pancreas is so essential to sugar and breakdowns and regulation of sugar because that regulates all the other things in our body, but also to our pH balance. The other thing I'll tell you, the only thing I say, you can look it up, say, hey, that guy was a liar, or he's full of shit, or whoever's watching will say he's full of shit. There's 680 known viruses and bacteria, including AIDS and Ebola and SARS and swine and Corona and COVID. They're all the same, by the way. They're all swine flus. All of them thrive in an acidic environment. So when our bodies are full with acid, that's when they attack. That's when they attack. Yeast is a bacteria. It's an acid-thriving bacteria, right? So you want to control the yeast in your stomach. And we take, probiotics, but prebiotics are better than probiotics. But the prebiotics start killing the yeast. Things like sauerkraut and pickles, and you're like, why do the Polish live so long? They drink vodka, pickles, and sausages all day long, right? The pickles are breaking down sauerkraut, fermented foods, all those things. And that helps to lower your acid levels because yeast is nothing but acid. Beer is acid. Everything's acid. So we have to find ways to incorporate more vegetables. So we're more like apes, gorillas, whatever we are. That's where we come from. There's different levels of where we evolved. Some people came from Neanderthal. Some people came from Africa. Everybody came from Africa. Most people came, and settled all around the world. Came from Africa. But back then, they weren't eating meat. They were farming, right? One of the things we talk about, I'm very pro-African as the human, the beginning of humanity. Africans moved all over the world. And what they were doing is they were farming, looking for places to farm. The Vikings did it later in England, right? Even though the Africans were the first in England. There's a guy named Cheddar Man. Where we get cheddar cheese from is in Cheddarshire. They found a guy 2 years ago. He's from Africa. They say he's the oldest human in England, right? What was he eating? Plants. Somehow we got into this thing with the meats and things, but anyway, and I think we can do those things, but it's the plants that have the alkaline properties, like you drink cucumber water or eat more parsley. All those things are good. Hemp is a part of it. So you can grow parsley, make parsley oil. You can make oregano oil. You can kill all types. You can go on the federal government's websites, the National Institute of Health (NIH), and type in essential oils. And they have a list of essential oils that they will tell you are antimicrobial, antibacterial, right? You can put a mask on all day, do all the things you're supposed to do. But if you have lemon oil and frankincense and all the essential oils, the oils that were given Jesus, and frankincense still comes out, those things are really powerful healing agents. They prevent, they stop all types of microbes like that, right? So where viruses would thrive. Hemp is like that also. Cannabis is like that. The seeds that you get from cannabis, you eat those. There's protein, antioxidants, omega-3, 6, and 9. The only thing the brain eats is omega-3, 6, and 9. Your brain goes, go get some essential fatty acids. And you're like, shit, I want a cheeseburger right now. You go get the cheeseburger because you want some fat, right? We eat the fat. 20 minutes, your mind's like, all right, yeah, give me that fat. 2 hours later, brain's like, where's the omega-3, 6, and 9? Nothing, right? So you go back out and eat another fucking cheeseburger. so all the things about cannabis, all the things about other plants. And as we learn, we need omega-3s, we need more alkaline-producing foods. The reason you want to look at pH balance when you're growing is because other microbes will grow in the soil and take the nutrients away from the plant. So everything is the same thing from us. You have microbes in our body. They're taking the nutrients out of our body. They're taking it out of the plant. They're taking it out of the terpenes, right? So all pretty easy. Now, the cool thing is, and I think you guys are leading in this too, is this new age of advanced agriculture. I mean, I call them kids, but 20 years my younger. And they're doing software things that I was watching people program in the markets, making billions of dollars on microseconds. They're plugging in software determining light spectrum and airflow and nutrients and water. They can get, sunflowers to grow out of little hydroponic pods in like 2 weeks. I mean, the things that we could do with technology and food and farming, there shouldn't be anybody starving, and we really shouldn't be getting so sick anymore. And if we're living a healthier lifestyle from the food, and also the plants kick off oxygen, they suck in carbon dioxide. Now we're cleaning the environment. The hemp. There was all these Jack Herrera quotes and stuff, but hemp and cannabis kick off a lot of oxygen. Anybody that's growing anything, main thing is you got to put in carbon dioxide in that room because it's just sucking it all up and kicking out oxygen. We should be growing this stuff everywhere to clean the air. And then you could turn it into, you can take the stalk, you take a flower, sunflower, make the oil, take the stalk, press that, ethanol. Hemp grows faster than corn. It doesn't use any pesticides. it puts nutrients back into the soil. So that farmer that I was talking about that couldn't feed his cows, it's called the marijuana mayor. I'll give him a shout out, Harry Shortway from Vernon, New Jersey. War hero sons, cop for 30 years, whatever. And he's trying to, he lives in our only ski area in New Jersey up in the Action Park. He used to be a Playboy man, something. And he's the mayor, and dealing with all these issues, not mayor anymore. And a real good guy. And he's trying to get medical marijuana to get into the community, trying to find ways so it can help the economy. They're like, we're not going to sell that much. It's not going to really help our problem. I go, Harry, if you plant those hemp plants in the ground, it'll suck out the toxins and you can feed the cows the hemp. You can feed the cows the hemp? Yeah. So now he's remediating the soil, cleaning the water table, feeding the cows, selling the oil. Big business if you have a couple of acres. Lots you can do. So you're going to see that. You're going to see, state programs. You got guys walking up and down the highway right now, in the orange suits. I'd like to work with them. I'd like to get them some CBD, calm down a little bit, help with the anxiety and the rage in jail, maybe focus a little bit on the GED and teach them how to do farming. The USDA gives out money to the people who had a felon. It was 10 years, okay. You try to go to another job, nobody wants to work with you. I get it. And all that social injustice shit, yeah, okay, great. What's the path moving forward? Help the brother out, teach him in jail how to grow stuff. Now there's money, the federal money, for somebody who wants to work hard, and a lot of money. Well, one guy could probably make $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 a year with a little hemp farm, doing it all by himself. Doing it all by himself.
Yeah, and it's with all of the talk of folks talking about sort of like reparations for the war on drugs and using the cannabis industry to do that. Like what you just said sounds a bit more tangible than probably anything that I've heard from a lot of folks, which are generally sort of like mild opportunities for for like entry level jobs and stuff. Like nobody's really talking about equity, for these folks. So.
Yeah, I'm not big on when you look at social inequity, it starts to fall short in different areas, right? Like for example, there's more white people in the country. Okay, fine, but most of the people in the country are white. And how are they? And what are they doing? Many of them are failing. Many of them, have drug issues and other issues, just like black people do, right? But there's something that happens in this country that doesn't happen in urban cities, and that's these people in Iowa, which is one of the largest universities, with people who don't have regular job access like the city. How are they getting? They're getting there on government assistance, and then they're going into, federally backed loaned universities and getting a degree or a profession in farming. Where they're driving tractors and cranes and getting certified on stuff like that. And a lot of people that I know, I'm in New York. I'm around billionaires, millionaires, all that stuff, and celebrities, and it's a very disparate system. The only way to change that really is you can't just give somebody access. I love making a joke all the time. If there's so much social inequity in cannabis, tell me the people who are making millions of dollars in cannabis, because everyone I know is losing money. Right? So stop pumping that shit out. Who is making money? Well, farmers used to. They're not anymore. And if I want to make money, I need somebody to help me with a loan. Well, I don't have credit. I don't have the income. Guess what? The government wants you to grow some food. They're giving out $16 billion for the Corona food thing. Really? Yeah, you could be a farmer. You know what else you could do? You could grow 50 pounds of hemp and make $100,000 a year. So these kinds of pathways exist. It's like when you go to school back in the day, you're like, we try to find a scholarship. There's money out there. You just got to go find it and apply for it. It's the same thing in this country. It just happens to be for farming. It's not for coal mining. It's not for this. People should be a plumber. My friends who are plumbers do really well. I wish I would have been a plumber instead of wasting my time with the other stuff. But farming is an opportunity. You can feed yourself and you can get money to live. It's one of the things I tell people. If you're going to start a business, every investor is going to want to give you some money based on your credit score, based on how much money you're putting in, based on collateral. They want to own you, right? Because if you don't get the money back, they're going to take it somehow, right? So the best way to start a business is to have an asset. So if you look at a piece of land that just trees, nothing's on it, it's not an asset. But if you decide to move onto that land and you get some farming going and start producing, then now it's an asset. Now you can borrow money to pay for the corn seed, and you're a corn farmer overnight. The other thing is housing, right? So you live in the city, you live wherever else, you're gonna pay. I pay $15,000 a year for taxes in my house. We on our farm, it's 100 acres, $1,000 a year for the taxes. Now, how's that for a program to get people out of the cities onto farmland? Massachusetts farmland is designated, I think, something like between 3 and 5 acres. You can get 3 or 5 acres in Massachusetts, Western Mass, empty lot, build a house, probably for like 20, 30 grand, $30,000. Easy to get a mortgage for something like that. 20, 30,000, build a little house, maybe, everything will vary. But those are pathways that nobody's talking about because we're not integrated into that world anymore, farming. And corporations did take over. They did it for the better. They went out to Oklahoma and other places and said, listen, can y'all move out the way? We can bring in $10 million tractors and just plow all this food up. And they gave them farm subsidies. They actually paid people to move and live off the farm, and they're getting paid to this day $180 billion a year in farm subsidies. People are getting paid not to do farming. But that also means if you look at where the federal government has excess money, it is for farmers. So cannabis is a great way because of hemp to start new lives, get people to get into professions, get lives after getting in trouble. I mean, you get in trouble, you got in trouble. What are you going to do? You can't take it back. I wish I could take it back, but I got in trouble. You can't take it back. So is somebody going to give you something? No, I ain't going to do it. I give you anything. But here's an opportunity because the government will give you something. You just got to know how to ask for it.
Dan, you actually have been much more like I didn't realize the depth of the conversation that we'd be going into.
Okay, thank you.
And so I really appreciate, and I know even the folks in the audience, it's great when we can. There's a lot of good education I think that happens when people come on to the show, talk to us and stuff. But I think that we were sort of hitting new things that maybe we don't get a chance to talk a lot about on the show. So it's great, and
Good.
I think we'd love to have you back at some point if you were willing to come back and talk with us more.
Would love to. I really do appreciate you guys having me on. You guys do a lot of work, and I see pretty busy every day. So thank you very much.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the conversation too. You got a lot of good
definitely,
things.
man. Definitely. Let's keep it going.
Excellent. Well, Dan Watkins, thanks so much. We pinned up onto the comments your book at Hemp Farmer Dan. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, it's your Facebook, not your book. I'm sorry, your Facebook.
Yeah. That's yep.
So,
We have a
folks,
couple of accounts actually. So Hemp Farmer Dan, you can find me on Facebook as Hemp Farmer Dan or GreenCELL CBD. There's a lot of green cells out there. Some play on words to explain that, but GreenCELL, SOLCELL is the first company, but Hemp Farmer Dan works too.
that's awesome. And we have your the spelling. We've got the spelling of your companies up there on the screen too, so folks can go and find you.
Heather helped out with that. Yeah, good. Thank you.
And also for any of you out there, make sure you find Dan on LinkedIn because that's probably these days, at least for me, people can get a hold of me much easier on LinkedIn than they can on.
Yeah, that's right. All my contact information is on LinkedIn. Yeah, we have most fun on Instagram though. You got to see some of our stuff. We make music and videos. We do little clips of bio, and my cousin's our COO. He's a rapper, producer. We have a lot of fun. So look for us on all social media platforms. SOLCELL, GreenCELL. We're actually the largest hemp CBD quote unquote organic cannabis company in New Jersey on Facebook.
That's really cool. Dan, thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to you coming back again with us soon.
All right, man. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Have a good
Dan.
one, man.
Thank you.
Dan Watkins, everyone. That was awesome. By the way, Chris Almeida wasn't. He had life, so he bounced. But that's okay. We'll have Chris on another day. And I think also we went a lot longer with Dan than what we thought we would.
Oh, yeah.
Just for everyone who's watching, these days we are now going to be doing... hold on, let me... Let's get rid of it. These days we're going to now be doing Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. So we're not on in the mornings anymore. We're only on in the evenings. You can watch us anytime you want, but if you want to watch us live, we're going to be on at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And no Almeida. He had to bounce. He's got little kiddos. And he's also getting ready to... They're opening the restaurant. So he's got to go back to helping that out. It's a good restaurant, though. Have you been there before? We went there, didn't we?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, Chris Almeida, if you're watching...
See you soon.
Today's ties of Versace. Nobody's paying attention anymore, but it kind of matches the colors of the screen up there. It's like matches. No, it was cool. It was really cool to have Dan on. And I think we'll probably get back into the swing of just messing around a little bit. Like having a little fun on the screen. We appreciate everyone watching. I got to figure out what's going on with the audio. For some reason, it just keeps like peaking, but then it's also really soft, and it's just weird. Been trying. I plugged it into a new thing. I do have a new microphone that I found. It's an old new one that I never used. Yeah, I found it. It's like a really expensive one, too. It's like this one, but a good brand. Anyway, I don't know. So maybe someday we'll get back to doing a singing outro, but how are you feeling about it these days? No? It's just, no, I feel you. Maybe it's time to come up with like new traditions and stuff,
Exactly.
right? New show, new traditions. What does everyone think about us renaming the show to something else? Would you like that? And by the way, good news is...
Nah, Heather, I got one left.
I only have cookie crumbs left in mine.
I actually woke up from a nap before we did the show. Yeah, I was tired.
He needs to adjust to the idea that we now do a show at night instead of the morning.
Yeah, I got one left. I'm saving it for before I go to bed. Eat it with some ice cream.
And I'm going to rethink all the interface because I know we don't have like the chat thing going and I don't have like the thing crawling on the bottom and all that good stuff. So I'm just thinking about what I want to, how I want to change that, I guess. I don't know.
I know. For me.
Plus this thing, and if anyone's listening, we're out of weed. I don't know. I guess that's it. That was a good show. It was long. It felt like, yes, new name. Cassandra, what do you think the new name should be? And Laura Lee, you don't want titles anymore? Should I take those out? Or should I add the thing underneath? Because I used to put something fun under there. Should have said something about what? What are we talking about? All right. Well, this was kind of fun.
Night.
It's weird. It's weird that it's at night. It's nice to be back. You're gonna crash. All right.
Yeah, my ears, because my ears itching.
I'm
finna go play the game.
How many of you watching right now would watch Eric stream his game? Because then he would actually probably want to talk to you guys.
No, y'all just gonna hear me cuss a lot.
But he'll cuss, and then you'll be like, Eric, you cuss a lot. And then he'll look, and he'll be like, oh, I know I cuss a lot. For instance, Laura Lee. What's up, Millie? Millie is our is our plug for flavored blunts.
Need the blunt wraps.
We've been talking. Yeah, we were talking about it the other day, Millie. Actually, Millie, I don't know if I don't know if you realize it, Millie, but the other day when you came on the show at the end and you were like, "Hey guys," and if you go back and watch, I was like telling him, I was like, "Look, it's Millie." We appreciate all of you guys watching, and we love all of you guys, and I don't know. I guess. Yeah. You got anything else?
Time to go. Peace out from the show.
Mike and Eric coming at you every day. Hell yeah, they got something to say. Talking about cannabis with all the guests. Don't you know they are the very best? Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Yeah, folks, it's a cannabis show. We get super high. Ratings, don't you know? Friends, join us. Come on the show. Tell every single person that you know. That Mike and Eric, yeah, they're the best. Spreading cannabis love. Man, they got some knowledgeable guests. Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Mike and Eric coming at you every day. Hell yeah, they got something to say. Talking about cannabis with all the guests. Don't you know they are the very best? Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Disrupt! Disrupt America! Yeah, folks, it's a cannabis show. We get super high. Ratings, don't you know? Friends, join us. Come on the show. Tell every single person that you know. That Mike and Eric, yeah, they're the best. Spreading cannabis love. Man, they got